Bears suck.
This is Out High Bear Nation.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another exciting edition of How the Bears Can Let Angelo Down. Just kidding. This is Out of High Bear Nation. Joey, how you doing tonight, man?
Doing pretty well. How about yourself?
Well, you know me. When the Bears always let me down, I get a little down in the dumps, but was nothing I wasn't prepared for. For the whole week leading up till Sunday, I was talking to a bunch of people, my buddy Alex especially, and I kind of expected this to happen. You know, for those of you that don't know, Sunday the Chicago Bears lost again to the Green Bay Packers, 17-9, in Lambeau. We could run through all the crazy statistics of how long it's been since the Bears beat them this time or that time. Or I don't even know if I was born the last time that – no. The last time the Chicago Bears beat the Green Bay Packers in Green Bay was in 2015. Thanksgiving of 2015. If you recall that, Joey, Jay Cutler, my guy.
Are you like trying to mock me? I kind of understand.
Was the recipient of the famous turkey leg at the end of that game. But that was the last time that I got to enjoy a Bears victory in Lambeau Field. It was Sunday started how I knew it was going to start, and it just went downhill from there. The game, even though it was 17-9, it wasn't close. There was no point in that game that I thought the Chicago Bears were going to actually pull ahead and win. I'm not sure if you watched the game, Joey. Did you watch the game?
I did.
Yeah, and what were your thoughts on
it? They all look like crap. It's just yeah, that's all I can say. They look like crap. I was expecting a better performance from them. You know, all the hype, all the talk they went into about them going into Lambeau, and it was just disappointing. Disappointing in all factors, from special teams to offense to even the defense, which is just, you know, from us supposedly having the top 3 ranked pass rushing, and we it was just trash.
The Bears had the number 1 run defense in the NFL going into that.
There you
game.
go, number 1.
And Aaron Jones had himself a day, 22 carries, 111 yards.
Yep.
But as much as I want to talk about how bad the Bears defense got gashed by the running game, I think it's important to acknowledge just how terrible they looked against a guy that I've really worked hard to not give any praise to in Jordan Love. And you look at the history of quarterbacks in Green Bay, you know, Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers. We thought, yeah, there's no shot do the Packers go from Aaron Rodgers to a competent quarterback. It's just not fair, right? Well, both the games against the Bears, Jordan Love balled out. On Sunday, he was 27 for 32, 316 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 1 fumble. But at that point, the Bears offense couldn't do anything anyway, so that fumble meant nothing. It was a complete and utter joke. Watching that game, which leads me to today. Watching that game, there was no way I thought they were going to bring back Matt Eberflus, right? Guy just can't beat the Packers. Fast forward a little bit. Earlier this morning, the Bears announced that they were releasing Luke Getsy, the man who I still think is a double agent for the Green Bay Packers. I think he came to Chicago with one goal in mind, and that goal was to sabotage Justin Fields in his development, and it was successful. But so they got rid of him. The Bears held their press conference. A lot of questions surrounding Justin. A lot of questions surrounding why the Bears decided to keep Matt Eberflus. I have a few videos. First, it's this is from the press conference itself. Somebody asks Ryan Poles if he had spoken to Jim Harbaugh.
Did you talk to Jim Harbaugh or his agent? And if not, why not?
No, I haven't talked to Jim.
Ryan, why is
He's
this
the coach of Michigan. Sorry.
Right. Did you? He was not a consideration. You did not see him as a.
No, like I said, we're going with Matt, and I gave you the reasons why. I think go through. I didn't go talk to anybody.
Ryan, where?
All right, so this is the hottest candidate for coaches in years that I can remember, right? Jim Harbaugh, he's been rumored to be future Bears coach for many years. It's not like Matt Eberflus was lighting the world on fire as a coach, right? We watched this with the Cubs where they had, Ricky Renteria. He got them through the struggles, and then they ultimately let him go, brought in Joe Madden. Joe Madden takes them to a World Series, wins a World Series. Mm-hmm. Then they do it again with David Ross, right? Rossi's there. He's taken all the crap that they're putting out on that field, and then they feel like they have a situation where they're ready to win. Now they bring in Craig Counsell. It wasn't so much, we don't like the guy we have. We just think we can upgrade to somebody better. I don't understand why the Bears have this thought process of we want to be just steady and stagnant at the coaching position when if it's any other position on this team, right? Offensive lineman, right? If they're not performing up to par, what do we want? We want them to go out and get a better offensive lineman. Quarterback, for instance. If the quarterback isn't doing what he needs to do, what's the first thing we're ready to do? Upgrade the quarterback position. So why can't we do that with the coach? And I'm not saying that Matt Eberflus is a bad coach. He definitely navigated through some shit waters all season, especially early on. A lot of self-inflicted ones with guys that he hired onto his staff. But you're looking at a situation where you won 7 games this year and 3 games last year. So you've won 10 games in 2 seasons. That's terrible. Yes, last year they were built to lose, but just the chaos and shit that was happening I don't understand why they would not go after a guy like Jim Harbaugh, who, by the way, just won the national championship on Monday.
But,
what do you think?
But here's my question: How do we know he hasn't though? I mean, he's being questioned in front of the head coach next to him. Like, are you really gonna sit there and say, "Oh yeah, I talked to Harbaugh, this." Like, he's not gonna do that. I mean, they just lost already. He's already his seat's on fire right now. He's being asked all these difficult questions. Like, I don't think he's just gonna throw Matt under the bus.
Well,
So
I mean, I get what you're saying, right? Why would you say you talked to him? But also, there's another. So, Courtney Cronin covers the Bears, beat reporter. She asked a follow-up question. I got that right here. We'll discuss that situation right after this.
Apologize for the awkward nature of this question. What made you want to stay with Matt Eberflus and knowing that that's the direction you want to go at head coach?
Yeah, everything I talked about in the beginning, just in terms of his leadership and stability, I really think that the head coach needs to be able to captain the ship when the seas are when the seas have storms, and really keep everything settled. When you go through hard times and you can keep everyone together, to me, that's like the critical piece in a big in a market like this. Like, you have to be strong. I mean, if he's jumping off the boat and everyone else starts jumping off the boat, it's a hot mess. So the stability was a big piece of it. The detail that he coaches with, taking some of the mistakes from the game bringing them to practice, and making sure that we're doing things the right way. I saw a lot of progress in that. There's a reason why we went from 3 to 7 wins. The player aspect of it is important, but also the detail and bringing the team together and sticking through those hard times allowed us to push through. And you saw a lot of those wins happening towards the back end of the season. If it's not for him, I really don't think that's the case. I think it starts to crumble. Everyone starts to do their own thing. So to me, that was a critical piece in this.
So basically, his excuse of bringing back Matt Eberflus was because the ship didn't totally sink. Half the ship blew off in the beginning of the journey, but the whole thing didn't sink by the time we got to the end. So we might as well keep him.
Yeah.
To me, that's just accepting mediocrity in a situation where you're looking at some of the best coaching candidates available. You got Bill Belichick, who is a free agent coach, Mike Vrabel, who's a free agent coach, Jim Harbaugh, who has been the talk of the NFL coaching scene almost all season since the scandal stuff broke at Michigan. You know, you could look at possibly trading for a guy like Mike Tomlin. There's so many other avenues you could have went with guys that have proven to be winners at the NFL level, right? At the NFL level. People think, oh, well, Jim Harbaugh's in college. Nah. I watched that game when Colin Kaepernick torched the Bears. I watched that offense destroy teams. Jim Harbaugh knows how to coach in the NFL. Mike Vrabel had a rough team in Tennessee that he ended up bringing to the playoffs. Bill Belichick has 6 Super Bowl championships. Like, you're going to just sit there and be completely okay with having this guy who, because he didn't allow players to quit on him halfway through the season, that's the goal. That's the standard. Like, well, hey, the players didn't give up on him, so let's bring him back for another year.
I mean, I get what you're saying, but at the same time, like, you know, he does make a point. Like, he did, you know, he did keep the ship stable. I mean, you know, they were progressing. I mean, every game they lost, you know, again, I'm not trying to make excuses for them. We're not by a huge lead besides, you know, Kansas City, which we won't go into that. I don't feel like crying again. But it's like, you know, he's not bad. Do we need? Can we use another coach like that? Yes, but then it comes back to, you know, the money. You know, comes back to, can we actually get them here? And if they want to coach here, and you know, there's all these different ifs around where, okay, my job, you know, if I was Poles, you know, my job's on the line as well, and okay, at least I got one more year, you know, to try to prove something. Okay, our first year we were on board, it was a shit wreck. Now here, okay, you know, we should have won these games, but we didn't, and you know, there's a lot of ifs surrounding the Bears organization. Am I happy we're keeping him? I'm okay with it, but I'm more I guess being patient because it's still early. They just lost it. Their season's finally over. And that sucks to say finally over, but you never know. Poles, from what he's been doing, you know, the last 2 years, he's been, you know, it's been good things. You know, they haven't been terrible. He's brought in a lot of good players. He's made great trades. You know, I think he's on to something. He sees. So I'm gonna stay patient, and I'm not totally ready to crash this, you know, my car yet, you know, with them. But I do want to see what they do because, like I said, I mean, the position coaches that we brought in, they were just trash, 100%. I mean, look at it. We were talking about the defensive coordinator had to retire or quit. Why? Because there were some things going on. Then the OC, Gatsby, it's just no. Let's see what happens. I mean, I'm curious. I mean, it's either like I was telling our friend Michael, it's either we're gonna wipe everything clean and start new. Yes, bring in Harbaugh. And if we're gonna bring in Harbaugh, then yeah, we might as well say bye-bye Fields and go a different route. Or we stick with, you know, Matt. We go with Fields for one more year and we see what happens. Get the right coaches. I mean, me personally, I don't think Harbaugh's gonna leave Michigan. I mean, the amount of money that they're offering him is it just blows my mind. Belichick, from what I read was that Belichick's willing to stay and relearn things, or willing to change, mix things up, change things up. So I don't see Vrabel. I think he's going back to Michigan. I mean, to Pats.
I think so too. I think that's been kind of rumored the last couple of years, right? Is like they knew Belichick was going to be on his way out. Vrabel played there under Bill. It kind of makes sense. My thought process is this: Justin Fields, right? So now you're sitting in a situation where you bring back the head coach. If you bring back Fields, now he's going to have a third offensive system in 4 seasons. You're looking at a situation where the Bears have not had the quarterback, coach, even GM lined up in sync at all. You look back at Cutler, right? He went through 5 OCs, 2 different coaches, and then different GM. Then that GM comes in, gets rid of him. Pace comes in and gets rid of Cutler, right? And then they bring in Mitch Trubisky, but the coach didn't want Mitch. John Fox was the coach, didn't want Mitch. Fox is fired the next year. They bring in Nagy, who also didn't really want Mitch.
Mm-hmm.
Run with Mitch for a couple seasons. Everybody knows that Pace and Nagy are on their way out, but they give him one more year to draft a quarterback. So then they draft Justin Fields, and they wanted to sit him all season. But instead of sitting him, they're like, well, Andy Dalton really blows, which, duh. Like, everybody knew that was coming. So let's throw him in there. He gets annihilated his first season. Nagy's gone. Pace is gone. You bring in Poles and Eberflus now. A new offense his first year. The same offense this last year. Now they're going to bring in another offensive coordinator for Justin Fields to learn. It's the same thing that Cutler went through. And everybody bitched and complained about, Jay, he's the coach killer. He's this and that. Like, I know they say Fields is a smart guy, right? But it's not easy to forget an entire offense and then relearn a completely new offense. So now you're looking at a situation where you got Matt Eberflus. He's safe. What do they do with Justin Fields? That's my big question now is, do you bring in an offensive coordinator, keep Justin, even though knowing that if the team struggles next year, Flus is gone, Fields is gone. You passed up on two or three potential franchise-altering quarterbacks in the draft, not 1 year, but twice, because they passed on Stroud, and he's lighting it up in Houston right now. Or do you take a guy like Caleb Williams with the first pick and then look to trade Fields? That's the real question right now. And you had some pretty strong defense of Justin Fields in the group chat. So I'd like your opinion on this.
And that's the thing, from experience, from me playing, football and all that, being around, it's a lot. So I've been with some coordinators, I played off, me being an offensive lineman, and played some defense too. Like, I had some coaches who came in and threw stacks of playbooks at us. We need to learn. They say it's a lot, it's heavy. But when you have that one, just takes that one person, that one piece of the puzzle, that one coach to come in and just how can I say, kind of expose you a little bit. Okay, these are your weaknesses. This is what I expect. Boom, okay, that motivates you. You want to do better. I honestly believe if Justin Fields, Justin Fields found his coach, he's going to do phenomenal things. I mean, because look at one of the things that was posted about Justin. Don't worry, yeah, Chicago Bears, let him go. He can come on to Atlanta and let him play his ball. The key words, let him play his ball. And the same thing with Stroud. He's phenomenal. When he first came into the league, I thought he sounded like an idiot because a lot of his questions and his his media days and all that. But he's been tearing it up again. The coaching, same thing with Patrick Mahomes. I'm sorry, but if I honestly believe if Patrick Mahomes would have went to a different team, he wouldn't be as good. Andy Reid made him into something great.
I mean,
Not
look
saying
at
that
now.
he didn't
Matt
have
Nagy
talent.
goes back to Kansas City and he's having one of the worst offensive performances of his
Yeah,
career.
you see
So-
exactly. So it's like it's not like am I sitting there saying Justin Fields is that player? No, but I do honestly believe he's the future for the Bears. I believe if you
So
get him the right coach, he will do better. Better. I'm not saying great. He will do better things. Why? Because a lot of his stats are they okay stats? Yeah, but he has improved. He's not one of our worst quarterbacks. I mean, so it's like you know, let's get Fields. We have him for one more year. We could decide if we want to pick his fifth option. Get him the right pieces, and then let him play his ball, and that's it.
all right. So my thought process on the whole Justin Fields thing for the whole season, right? I've been consistent with this whole thing. People are like, oh, Caleb Williams this, Caleb Williams that. That dude is a punk. I do not like Caleb Williams. I don't care if he's great. He could be the next Patrick Mahomes, but the dude's a complete jag-off, if you ask me.
He needs just a player.
Justin Fields, on the other hand, we talked about this a couple shows ago. The dude's a leader, right? The team wants to play for him. DJ Moore came out after the Packer game stating the exact same thing, that he feels that Justin is the guy to lead this team. A couple other guys came to his defense after that game as well. Somebody asks Poles in that interview or in the press conference about that whole locker room dynamic.
Ryan, how much do you take into account, or should you take into account the seemingly endless support for Justin Fields that we perceive to exist in the locker room, just from talking to players? Do you take that into account, or do you have to separate that part?
I have to separate it a little bit, but I absolutely love it. I mean, when you talk about building a team, I want that type of support in our locker room. I want those guys to, when they go take the field, I want them to believe in the player that they have at that quarterback position. I want them to believe into the person to the right and to their left. So I absolutely love that. With any decision, I got to take the emotion out of it and look at the whole deal there.
Brian, this won't be your first.
All right. So
100%. I agree with that.
you got to take the emotion out of it, right? I have a very strong belief that they're going to keep Justin at least one more year. My thought process on this is the haul you got for that first pick last season, when the quarterback class was nothing like it is this offseason. There's rumors that you could get 3 future first round picks for that number 1 pick this year. And I said it a few weeks ago, dance with the devil you know versus the devil you don't, right? I know what Justin is. I know where his deficiencies are. Caleb Williams, Drake May, Michael Penix Jr. We watched him on Monday night. Yeah, those guys are good in college, but how's that going to translate to the NFL? Caleb Williams, one of his biggest weaknesses in college is the exact same biggest weakness that Justin Fields has.
100%.
He holds on to the ball too long. He tries to play hero ball and it does work, but that's one of the biggest complaints is that he holds the ball too long, tries to make too much happen.
Here's my thing, real quick. My thing is like, perfect example. Look what the Panthers gave up and then drafted Bryce Young when they could have had CJ Stroud.
Right.
Like,
well, and then there was a rumor that came out that Frank Reich wanted CJ Stroud instead of Bryce Young, but the GM wanted Bryce Young, so he went over his head and took him. Like, that's the type of shit at least we don't have to deal with, right? It's like that kind of crazy. There's just ineptitude in the Chicago Bears front office, and that's how it's always been. You and I could probably go up there, throw some shit around, and be just as good.
Here, see, this is the perfect example. Like I said, like here, we'll even go back to the Packers. Look at it. It went from Brett Favre. It went from Star, Favre, Aaron Rodgers, and now Love. Like, look at who Love had to sit behind for a few years. Even with Trubisky, we got Trubisky, and look at Mike Gannon, butt fumble Sanchez. Fields. Andy Dalton. Like we're not setting that. We're
Don't forget
not
Nick
setting-
Foles. He was in there too.
Nick Foles, yeah,
Big Dick
yeah,
Nick was
Foles,
in there also
yeah.
for a little while.
But the thing is that we as an organization are setting up these young quarterbacks to fail because we're not giving them everything they need, the mechanics to help them grow and better. Here, same thing with Tom Brady. Tom Brady, I mean, came from Michigan. He wasn't nothing special. And why did he go special? Because Belichick, then he had Mike Daniels. It's the system you put these quarterbacks into that makes them great. You had to develop them the right way. Chicago doesn't do that. Chicago it's like what as a kid was it Beyblades? They just spin it, let them boom, hit, and then
I will
see
officially
what
say that is the first Beyblades reference that I think we've had on this show, and I get it completely. I'm all
like
for it.
it's just that's how it is. Like no, Justin Fields he's the leader. Get him what he needs. Build around him. I like Poles a lot, and I do strongly believe he has something up his sleeve. He's got some good things in the works, and what I'm kind of hoping for him is they go out and they get the OC that used to be with the Chiefs.
Bellamy? Bellamy? No, I'm good.
I mean,
my hope and my pray is that if they go back to the guys that have been OCs, I would love for them to get Greg Roman if they keep Justin Fields. Greg Roman was there in San Francisco, helped with Alex Smith, helped with Colin Kaepernick, who's a similar player to Justin. Then he went to Baltimore and helped Lamar Jackson become MVP. That's the guy. If you're going to do it, why not do that? And if I'm Greg Roman, I'm looking at it like, okay, well, shit. I come in here, right? And let's say it's a complete train wreck and they fire Flus halfway through the season. Well, they're probably going to turn to me to be the head coach. And that gives me an opportunity to show what I can do. But you need a guy who's familiar with Fields' style of play. And I know great coaches adapt their game plan to their players, not the other way around, right? You don't make your players adapt to you. But it helps when you know how to adapt to your player, right? Like it helps if you know how to put your running quarterback, because I'll say that right now because the whole season's over. Fields still hasn't really proven that he's the passing quarterback that they need him to be. But give him a guy like Greg Roman who can work with quarterbacks that are mobile like he did with Lamar Jackson, right? Move the pocket, boots, screens, all these things. Now, I'm tired of the screen pass, so I take that part back. But one thing I would like to see this Bears offense do next season is something that I watched the Packers do both games against the Bears. That little 3 to 5 yard slant route that they run where they just, boom, ball's gone, give it to your playmaker, dude takes off for 25 yards. Not every play has to be a 15, 20-yard pass down the field for a completion. You can have explosive plays, 3-yard slant that turns into 10, right? 5-yard curl, you get away from your guy, turns into 15 yards. That kind of stuff can happen. You just have to be able to put your players in the position for that to happen. Now, we had talked about the draft a little bit, and my favorite Chicago Bears quarterback of all time, Smokin' Jay, was talking about just that, what he thinks the Bears should do this year in the draft as it pertains to sticking with Fields or not sticking with Fields.
Justin Fields, going into his third year, he's 10-27, 40 touchdowns, 30 picks. His fourth quarter stats are pretty bad, and the team's not that good. I don't know what they're going to do. What I think they should do is trade down, get some more guys on that team to help out Justin, and see what happens. Because let's plug in Caleb Williams on that team.
Yeah.
What happens?
If he's out there in that game with that game plan as many times as Justin had. Because I looked, because I'm on Justin Fields' side here. Because I'm afraid to take that chance with a guy in the top 10. We've seen that since we've been in the league, drafting top 10 quarterbacks is a crapshoot. You could get a Jay Cutler where your guy gives you a chance to win, or you could get a guy who flames out in a year or two. I think when it comes to Fields, you watch that game, you try to put the sacks on him. It's hard to do it. Like, where's he going with that football in those situations?
So I also just had something come across my feed on Twitter. DJ Moore, who was interviewed in an exit interview just yesterday, and Poles said during those interviews, they asked the players about coaching, other players, what they thought of the direction the team should go. He was on the St. Brown Brothers podcast, and in regards to what the Bears should do with the number 1 pick, he said that I think we should trade back, to which EQ St. Brown said it worked out the first time. Now, Cutler in that clip also said that he thought the Bears should trade the number 1 pick and look to get a haul. And that's something that I've echoed at least the last 7 weeks, 8 weeks, when we kind of knew where the Bears were going to be picking because the Panthers are just complete booty. What do you think the best case scenario is for the Bears in this draft coming up?
Again, it's the same thing. They trade down. I mean, again, if even if we just like Cutler said, and if we would have just say we got Caleb, it's the same thing. Who's he going to pass to? Who's going to protect him? Like he's going to be running for his, and then if they're saying that he's Justin Fields 2.0, but generational, like it's the same. It's the same shit.
I think we throw the generational word out there a little bit too much nowadays.
Yeah.
You can't. How many generational players can you have in 2 seasons? Not everybody can be generational. That's a reason they call it that, because it's once in a generation type of player. Not everybody can be a generational player.
Exactly. So my thing is, okay, there's a lot of good quarterbacks in this league. I mean, in this draft this year. Okay, fine. I'm not sold on Caleb. I don't want him. I don't care for him. Like I said, the thing I keep telling myself is the NFC North is one of the toughest divisions in the league. So what? We're getting our butts kicked by Green Bay or whatever. What's he gonna do? He's gonna throw his helmet and run off the field, or he's gonna go running and jump in the crowd and crying to his mom? Like you think anyone's gonna respect
whoa. I mean, I get it. The guy cried. Okay, hey, some men are soft and sensitive, and they just get emotional. But the way it happened, I do feel like it was kind of planned out for the cameras to catch. That's why I feel like it was I just
okay, fine. I'll give you that. Fine, we'll throw that out.
Right here, best comment I've had on this show. Bring Cutler back. That's what I'm talking about.
But yeah, it was the thing. I would trade down. I would go and get a receiver if we can't get Harrison. There's a couple other receivers out there. Me personally, I like the dude from LSU.
You're better at these names than I am. I don't watch college football. So
his name was Nager or something like that.
You know what? I'll just look it up. Top 2024 wide receiver prospects. All right, this is all we got to do. Just this.
You got Azuma and Azume.
Yeah.
And then you got Nager. I think it was
Neighbors. Yeah, Malik Neighbors.
Neighbors. You got them, or you got Wilson from Florida State. Like you go get yourself another receiver to help DJ Moore, and then we need a center. I mean, every center we've had is just trash. And then
all right.
Besides Kreutz, come on, Kreutz. That's the last time. But at the end of the day, it's like this year's quarterback draft is something. I'm not gonna say special, but it's something. So if we really needed to, we could always get a quarterback in the 3rd, maybe 4th round, because a lot of them are gonna fall. The only 2 that's gonna go early is Caleb and maybe Mays, but who knows?
So my thought process on the quarterbacks for this year, I think the Bears need to take a quarterback in the draft, but I don't necessarily think it has to be the 1st round. I don't even think it has to be the 2nd round. I think you go and you take, depending on where Michael Penix can fall to, late 2nd, early 3rd, maybe not, just because the league is so quarterback heavy. You might not be able to, but if you trade that 1st pick to the 2nd or 3rd spot, you're almost, and I say almost, guaranteed to get a guy like Marvin Harrison Jr., who played at the Ohio State University, where Justin Fields also played. And I can't even imagine what that offense would look like with DJ Moore on one side, Marvin Harrison Jr. on the other side. Then you have Cole Kmet, who has turned into a much better pass-catching tight end. Then you have a guy like, Roshan Johnson in the backfield, Justin's legs. And I'm not sold that you need to move on from Fields to be successful. There's too many holes in this team. You stated the center position is one of them. The Bears haven't had a legit actual center in a long time, or a guard. But like the problem with the center position is they'll draft a guy, right? A left guard, left tackle, right tackle. This guy, but he played center in college, but that wasn't his primary position. So instead of like actually getting a center, we're just going to move that guy to center, and then it's just fucking terrible. Or their centers can't stay healthy, like Lucas Patrick, which was anything the Bears have gotten from Green Bay. I'll say this, and I hate giving Green Bay any type of credit, but anytime the players leave Green Bay, most of the time they're ass on every other team they go to. It's just like with the Patriots, right? It's just like with the Patriots. When they move on from a player, that player usually does not succeed at the next stop he goes to. It's being able to evaluate the talent you have, see when that talent is starting to decline and moving on from them. And the Bears got what? Lucas Patrick's, Mercedes Lewis, Robert Tonyan, who all three of those guys combined were not great for the Chicago Bears. Then you take a quarterbacks coach from Green Bay and Luke Getsy. Green Bay's quarterback for the last 15 years is a bona fide first ballot Hall of Famer. Do you think that guy really needed a quarterbacks coach? Like, do you really think he needed that guy? No. So you're going to go bring in a quarterbacks coach for a quarterback who doesn't really need a coach? That's the stupidest thing you could do. But they did it. Anytime the Bears get anything from Green Bay, it turns out to be ass for this team.
100%.
I just hate the Packers so much.
Well, like I said, they need to commit to a legit center, and they need to trade down. They need to get the pieces to help Justin. I'm curious to see what's going to happen in the free agency too, because there are a lot of good receivers. Higgins for one, Mike Evans for two, who are going to be all free agents, and I think Tampa is going to resign Mayfield. They're going to keep Evans too. They're going to work something out because those two it was just phenomenal. But it's just like I said, I think Justin's it. They need to find a better guard, a legit center, and receivers that can actually catch and do something. Marvin Harris. If not, then Neighbors or one of those guys. I'm curious.
I think you hit the nail on the head. We've talked about it for weeks on this show. Tarbill and you and I have been together a few times the last couple months. I think if you're too stupid to see the potential in draft capital that you get back for this pick, and you want to take a shot on a guy who you have no idea how he's going to play, then you deserve whatever you get. I think the
100%.
best case scenario, you trade away this first pick, get 3 potential future first round draft picks for the next 3 seasons. So now you're looking at the opportunity to, let's say Justin doesn't work out, right? Well, you got all these future first round draft picks now all of a sudden. So guess what? You can package those like people packaged to you to go up and get your quarterback. There's nothing. I don't think there's anything negative that you can't get worse by keeping Justin Fields. I don't think you can. You can get worse by drafting the wrong quarterback. And let's not act like the Bears have a great history of drafting quarterbacks.
Exactly. And it goes back to, again, I mean, look at you ask all the players. We saw it, and yeah, they backtracked and changed their answers because I believe they got some heat for it. But every position, every player they asked, why? What do you think was wrong? They all pointed at the play calling. Who's the play calling? It was Gatsby. He's gone.
The
Bring someone
double
in and
agent,
nobody.
man. I'm telling you,
You know
nobody
that's
wants to
it. Like
listen to me.
it's just it's we need an OC. We need a good OC. We need these little pieces, and we're gonna be okay. A few pieces away. Me personally, what I'm praying. I'm praying every night on it. I'm hoping it happens. If it is, I will cry. I'll cry on medium. But right now, I'm hoping for, what I really want is I want the Bears to get on board with the Raiders. Trade
Yes.
us. Give us
Yes.
Crosby.
Yo,
Give us
I've been talking
Crosby,
about this
couple
trade.
first-round picks.
I've been talking about this trade for weeks. Ask anybody
That's what I want.
who has the sanity to listen to me talk sports. I've talked to my dad about it. I've talked to my dudes about it. I've talked to myself about it in the mirror. And the idea of trading that to the 8th pick, yeah, you miss out on a few players, right? You won't find anybody in the first round that's going to give you the productivity that Max Crosby will give you.
Exactly.
Nobody.
Crosby and Sweat together.
Oh, that's things that wet dreams are made of.
Yeah.
For real. Like that's like when Peppers was on the team and like you bring somebody like that in, you got just a dominant force on one side. Montez Sweat was the best pass rusher on not only the Bears this year, but also the Washington Commanders this year. The only player in NFL history to lead 2 teams in sacks in the same year. You put those two on that line, you got those young guys in the middle. Jalen Johnson, because Pohl said earlier today that Jalen's not going anywhere, so they're going to re-sign him or they're going to franchise him. Then you got Gordon and Brisker, Tyreek Stevenson. Like, you shore up the safety position, and that's a top 5, maybe top 3 defense in the NFL next season.
Yeah.
Because you're keeping Flus, right? So you shouldn't take a step backwards in the defensive department. Right? So you do something like that. Get creative, man. They did it last year. They got creative. Justin needed number 1 wide receiver. What do they do? Trade that pick, but in that trade made sure to get him a bona fide number 1 stud wide receiver. DJ Moore was that. He might not have been a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL, but he was definitely a top 10. Right?
So that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping for them to trade with the Raiders. That would be phenomenal.
It's one of those things, like, I'm a firm believer in expect disappointment because then you're never disappointed.
Yeah.
But that's like one of the very few things that, like, I'll let myself get hyped for. And the odds of it happening, minuscule at best. But, oh, man, I would totally rock a Crosby Bears jersey, you know.
Right.
And another reason I don't want Fields to go anywhere, like, I bought my kids a Justin Fields jersey, and like I always said I was never going to buy a Bears quarterback jersey, and I did. I don't want to become that guy with the trend of like duct taping the name and writing another one, and then duct taping that one and writing another one. Like I just want this guy. Let him be the quarterback. I'm good with that.
Here's another example. Look at Purdy. Come, what you honestly think if Purdy was in a different on a different team, he would be as productive as he is now?
Well, no,
he's
Kyle
he's
Shanahan is a fucking offensive guru. That's why.
Exactly. He's a mediocre quarterback at best, and he's been exposed so many times this season. But look at him. They're in the playoffs with the first bye. Like it's the system.
Well,
same thing with.
They also have one of the best defenses in the NFL, the best running back in the NFL. Stud wide receivers, a great offensive line. Like, they put that dude in a position to not fail.
Okay, well, you see, and why can't the Bears do that for Justin Fields? I don't want to say
the Bears are inept at doing anything right. But and then this is the rabbit hole I fall down with this team is like, I try to say something positive about them, but then it always turns back into a negative because they haven't done anything positive for me. We haven't even gotten into Kevin Warren's statements in his press conference about the Bears and where their new stadium is going to be. Everybody thought Arlington Heights, right? Well, now they're talking Kevin Warren wants to keep it in Chicago, which good because one of my favorite things when the Bears play like Sunday Night Football is that night shot of over the city. You know, the city's lit up, and there's Soldier Field, and the lake is right there, and Navy Pier, and all these great things. And then you go to places like Green Bay, right? And they pan over like a cow field or something. Like, I don't need that. I want to have this big time kick ass stadium where I can go and gamble if I want to gamble. I don't have to wear a jacket. That would be cool to not have to worry about a January 2nd game where I went to one of those, Cutler's last game, where I had to wear like 5 layers of pants, 10 shirts, and I was still frozen. Where you can just park, walk in, take your coat off, enjoy yourself. That's the kind of experience I want. And if they can figure out a way to do that in Chicago and make the traffic a little better, because it is have you been to Soldier?
Yes.
It's a pain in the ass to
Is that
get
Christmas
in,
Eve?
and it's a bigger pain in the ass to get out.
Mm-hmm.
And if they could fix that, I'm all for them staying in Chicago.
Yeah, time will tell. But
time will tell. And I mean, I know we started a little late, actually really late. We usually start at 8. Don't think we started till like 8:45 today, but I'm gonna wrap it up here just because we did go so late. But ultimately, do I think the Bears have? I think the Bears have an opportunity this offseason, just like last year, to catapult this team into the future. Whether that's with Justin, whether that's without Justin, there's still ways that this team should improve going into next season.
Put this into perspective. We haven't made a stupid decision. Knock on wood. We haven't made a stupid decision or anything in the draft in 2 years now, and that's with Poles.
Let me think.
I mean, last one was Pace when we moved back and took Trubisky.
I'm just trying to think of all the draft picks that he's gone through. I agree with that. He has made stupid trades, but when he was wrong with Chase Claypool, what did he do? He moved on. And look at Chase Claypool went to Miami and he's asked there too. So, I don't know. I think that I love this time of year. I just wish the Bears were playing this time of year. You know what I mean? Like, it'd be cool to not have to talk about the offseason for like another 4 weeks, but here we are.
Packers suck.
And I don't care that the Packers beat the Bears twice. I don't care that they beat them fucking 15 of the last 20 times. I don't care. In my book, they'll always suck. That's just the way it is. Hold on, we got a couple more comments. That's what I do. That's what I do. That's my uncle. Or my cousin, one of the two. But that's what I do. What's this say? Fields needs to go on a 4-day darkness retreat. No, we don't need Aaron Rodgers over here, Panchakarma and all over himself and
biting his toe in the media.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That guy, he's a lunatic. But thank you guys for tuning in. We have a bunch of viewers right now, and I know that there's some out there that are enjoying more than others. I'm all for we had a Titans fan in the chat all night tonight. And he's probably miserable right now because what the fuck does that team have right now going for it? They got a quarterback who puts mayonnaise in his coffee. Like, that should be illegal. They should arrest that dude. You didn't know that?
No.
Go Google Will Levis mayo coffee and you're going to throw up all over your house. Yeah, it's disgusting.
It's like what's his name eating steak with ketchup.
Yeah, who eats steak with ketchup? If the steak's good enough, you don't need anything with it.
Exactly.
Right? But anyways, thank you. Oh, man, you guys are I'm loving all the comments here. Oh, yeah, here he is. Super miserable. But yeah, it's I don't feel bad because I'm always miserable with this team, But there may be another show tomorrow. Turtles Take, our dude Vince, he might not be able to be on, but Daddy might come and save the day. Maybe I can host it for him. And we'll see if Tarbill will join me on there. You're more than welcome to join me too, Joey. And hey, man, this is what I love. Great show. I know. Thank you. We appreciate it. And again, like last week, this week, our takes are always spot on. So I don't know why people look at any other type of content when it comes to the Bears. You can go to our YouTube page if you're not already there. Undefeated Sports Network. On Twitter, now X, Undefeated SN21. I am at Aces Wild CST. It's new handle, so I got to make sure I remember it. Follow me on TikTok also, the same handle. And, we'll see you tomorrow on Turtle Steak.